neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for this beauty. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you be? Won't you please? Please won't you be my subscriber? Hi there, subscriber. Feeling uncomfortable? All right, glad to be with you. That always gets a laugh out of Edward, the sound guy.
It does.
It's very easy to get a laugh out of him.
He's the king of the dad jokes.
He's the king of the dad jokes.
Makes it easy.
And just a couple of hip thrusts. Glad to be with you. This is the Thursday live stream. So it's available on YouTube and Facebook for free. That's the sound of the weekend. I should say this is the sound of the weekend. Producing with me in video studio, as always, is Jared, who is not gay. Follow him on Twitter at NotGayJared. I fulfill my legal obligations. Draw your own conclusions. The reason it's mixing me up is because we're daily now. A lot of people are seeing this for free, and they're probably confused.
They're confused because they get it both on Seer TV at 9.
Right.
Live here on Thursdays at 8.
Yeah.
Central,
or they're
Eastern.
listening on iTunes or listening on SoundCloud. So don't worry. Yeah. This is always going to be free. We're always going to have awesome guests and segments, but it's a little bit shorter because we're doing it every day, Monday through Thursday now. And then starting in February, Not Gay Jared and Courtney and some others behind the scenes will have their own show. So glad to be with you. We have a lot of news to get to. We're going to have Matt Iseman on tonight, who just won this. He won this week, right, Jordan?
He did.
He won the Celebrity Apprentice contest this week. Also, he won't say it. He's relatively right-wing. He's a good patriot, loves his country. Chael was going to be on, who lost.
Who lost but won his place back.
But won his place back. It's tough to hate Chael Sonnen. And what else? We'll have Chael next week. Chael got sick. So Chael, we hope for a speedy recovery. And we'll find out if you're really sick because Matt Iseman will let us know. We're going to tear Reza Aslan a new, I'm trying to think of the term that would apply. Genitally mutilated orifice, right? That would work for Muslims. That would be relatable. Yeah. Reza Aslan, we'll talk about that after the break. He did some videos for Vox. Vox's full-scale pro-Islamic propaganda this week.
This week especially. It seems to come on strong again.
They seem to be coming on really strong. I think that's their new tact with Trump because repealing the Affordable Care Act, people actually want to.
Yeah.
And so I think now, like, oh gosh, well, hold on a second. Actually, a lot of people voted for him, and there are more people, even people who didn't vote for him, who like some of his policies. Let's say he's racist in Islam, and now they're like, look, anti-Islam, Islam's peaceful. Let's bring out Reza Aslan, who claims he's not gay, but come on now. So we'll be talking about that. Before that, though, we're going to talk about Seth Meyers, of course, and fake news. Fake news has been all the rage this week. A couple of things. More fallout here from the CNN BuzzFeed disaster. It's now been shown that Trump was not briefed. I think we can bring this up here on the infamous 2-page addendum. So we know that now for a fact. So before it was like, it's uncorroborated. We don't know. We know now for sure that CNN went with verifiably false information. But it wasn't us. It was BuzzFeed. Okay. You're in good company, CNN. Senate took the first step to repeal Obamacare last night. 51-48 vote. Also, there's a bunch of stuff going on with Jeff Sessions as to whether he's a racist or not, but I'm sure you've heard about that everywhere else. We've written about it at loudwithcrowder.com, but that's actually pretty boring. So
not
we
the
don't want to.
best,
I know our
entertainment.
EP Scott. He's such a policy wonk. He wanted me to talk about Jeff Sessions. I was like, I just don't care. I know it's going to be a Lifetime movie at some point.
We'll catch the Cliff Note version on.
Yeah,
Lifetime.
Jeff Sessions will be the racist in the South, and he'll be pushing his wife down a flight of stairs because that always happens in Lifetime movies. And you guys have enough information on that. What I do want to get to is Seth Meyers. We were all watching this when we were prepping for today's show. We just couldn't. I mean, the irony is so rich you could get gout. In an incredible twist, he did a big bit yesterday on fake news. Well, first he tried to take the moral high ground and take CNN and BuzzFeed to task. So let's show that first in his defense. He did do that.
Last night, CNN published this bombshell report. Intel chiefs presented Trump with claims of Russian efforts to compromise him. But then today, NBC News contradicted that story, reporting that Donald Trump wasn't told about unverified Russian dossier. Now, BuzzFeed also reported on this story, but handled it very differently, publishing the 35-page dossier that detailed the unverified allegations. And it's worrisome to publish allegations like this without a shred of evidence. Look, nobody wants to believe that Trump paid Russian hookers to pee all over a bed more than I do, but there is zero proof that happened.
Well, exactly. And now there's proof that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or there's proof at least that the people who ran with it had no proof that it happened. They and usually that means you likely lied. When you run with a story as a journalist that you verifiably have no way to prove. So I agree with Seth Meyers here. I agree with him, and he seems to be talking about how this is a problem in news.
Yeah.
So it seems like he might be consistent. We're on board.
Today, Trump called these new reports fake news. So despite an incredibly short run, I think it is time to retire that term. It used to mean one thing, but now everyone is using it for everything. Fake news as a term is busted.
But
Well,
that's your term.
Well, fake
That's
news is over.
Fake
then.
news is over now, apparently.
So over.
They want you to know that fake news is so over. Right? It's because it's the uncool. It's you. Fake news is a thing because of you. I get it, right? Fake, adjective, news, noun. It was just an adjective and a noun. Shouldn't really mean much, but for the longest time, recently, fake news has been a buzz term, fake news, in quotes, to mean anyone who disagrees with the mainstream press, to mean anyone who's conservative. You see it with Zuckerberg talking about how they need to clamp down on fake news. You see Vox. You see Salon, Paul Krugman at the New York Times. They were all talking about fake news. And look at every single picture. When they're talking about fake news, they show Republicans. They show conservatives. They show any kind of right-leaning website. That was the term fake news because they wanted to blame this election not on their shortcomings, not on the kind of debacles that you see right now with CNN and BuzzFeed. They wanted to blame it on fake news out there. Now, we've actively fought against clickbait. For a long time. And on our website, we reference everything. We source everything. If we do a video, like even right now, these references are available to you, or you can see the URLs. I understand. Fake news is bad. But the term, the colloquialism fake news, is because of you, Seth Meyers. Do we have the BuzzFeed? BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed even ran a piece. Top 6 ways. Is it a video or is it a...
It's a website.
Can we see it?
Yeah, I got it right
Oh,
up
there
the
we
article.
go. BuzzFeed. These 6 easy steps will help you spot fake news every time. Step 1. Does it come from BuzzFeed? Again, here's the thing. If BuzzFeed did not get caught, if CNN did not get caught, today they would still be running with fake news. Today they'd still be using the term. It was all over every single panel, every single show on primetime. Fake news is a real problem. Van Jones, yes, I have emotional whiplash from fake news. Fake news is a problem. What do we do? The principled press, as Meryl Streep talked about it, the principled press, the ones who ran with this story, who Seth Meyers is now condemning and using as the fulcrum for saying, let's do away with fake news, they're the ones who created the colloquialism. BuzzFeed, you can clearly see. BuzzFeed. Do you not understand? Here's the problem with liberals now. They're children who've never been spanked and put to bed. And as much we know, I opposed Donald Trump in some policy issues. I do love that he is bending them over his knee, and he's telling them who their daddy is, in the sense that, okay, you want to run on fake news? All right, listen, Donald Trump has published some conspiracy theories that are uncorroborated. Donald Trump is an offender of that. I understand that as well. But these other people have lost the moral high ground. And that's why I find it so funny, because Seth Meyers was just I mean, he was always talking about fake news. He's a leftist who championed the cause. By the way, we're not using these sites because they're not mainstream. If you ever watch Samantha Bee, her references are nearly always Salon
Always. Yep.
and Vox. And
Unironically.
Unironically. And I'm pretty sure that Seth Meyers uses the same crew. He just doesn't show his sources. But I do wonder, all of a sudden, right, Seth Meyers has decided he needs to pivot away from, so fake news is done. It's a term. But you've been pushing it for months. Why could Seth Meyers be, why is he upset now about fake news when he was pushing fake? Why, hold on. Is there a reason? Is it possible?
The intelligence community briefed both the president and the president-elect with allegations that the Russian government has compromising information.
Nobody has sourced it. So where are
I
we?
think it was based on an MI6 British investigator.
Right. Also says that Hillary Clinton and groups that wanted Hillary Clinton to win may have been behind the investigations themselves.
The press report was
an
about
allegation.
them going to the president.
And it says that they never briefed him on it.
I believe it said they did brief him on it.
Well, he has said that he is not aware of that.
Okay. That concerns me.
So the same thing that Seth Meyers, I just want to make this clear. Seth Meyers bitches about fake news. BuzzFeed tells you how to spot fake news. BuzzFeed runs a fake story. CNN runs it. And Seth Meyers not only brings it up on his show, it wasn't part of the monologue for some jokes. I understand that, right? Sometimes you pick some topics where you're like, this is weak, but it's funny material. He grilled a direct employee, is that the term? Employee of Donald Trump, will we say?
Yeah.
He grilled a direct associate of Donald Trump repeatedly, and insinuated that she was lying in what now we know it turns out to be an entirely vindicated stance. She was right, Seth Meyers was wrong. He was running with this as news, asking Kellyanne Conway. Now that it's wrong, today, let's do away with fake news, right? Like the hipsters they are. Fake news is over, people. I'll tell you what, for us it's not. But as far as leftists, having the moral high ground and accusing everyone else like us here of being fake news, you might have that right.
That's over. That's over. Huh?
Dormio. Hey, no, Hopper, you're not supposed to be on there. Get off. Get off. That's the new Dormio. I know it's soft and comfortable on your back. Go.
Hello, mattress, my old friend. I've come to lay with you again. Because a vision I was dreaming of you and I together sleeping, and the comfort that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence.
Dormio mattresses. Sleepwithcrowder.com for specials and free shipping.
And a pillow.
When it's time to party, we will party hard.
All right, glad to be back. Matt Iseman from Celebrity Apprentice coming up later after this break. So we have a lot to get to. Okay. Marley was dead to begin with. Let me start with this. Reza Aslan, who's one of the biggest Islamic apologists you see out there on cable news, has somehow gotten a pass as though he's an intellectually honest or critical thinker who presents very compelling arguments for Islam. We've had so many people saying, why don't you have him on? It's very hard. We'll have our booker come on with the list of people who've refused to do the program. Reza Aslan is a social justice warrior personified, This is what I would like to presuppose. Reza Aslan is not an intellectual. He's a social justice warrior, just like a Lacey Green, just like a Bernie Sanders, just like a Vox. And I think by the end of this segment, I can prove it to you. Let's roll the first clip.
You are, according to the FBI, more likely to die as the result of faulty furniture than by an Islamic terrorist. So you should really be scared of your lazy boy.
Okay, so right away you should be starting to see the similarities. This is an argument? No, this argument is intellectually lazy. Boy, see what I did there?
I see.
It's obviously, it's such an intellectually lazy argument. Okay, a couple of things. First off, I don't know what kind of numbers you're using, because Barack Obama's farewell address, he just said that there were no known terrorist attacks on American soil under his watch, that things were better, that global terrorism was down. I don't know, Fort Hood, Chattanooga, Boston bombers. So maybe those aren't being included where he's talking about the unlikelihood of a terrorist attack. Globally, they occur all the time, every day. People are killed in the name of Islam at very, very high record numbers consistently. So I don't know the numbers that he's using there, but let's remove that from the table, okay? I'm going to give him as much leeway as possible. A lazy boy, a piece of furniture, is an inanimate object. It doesn't have an evil ideology. It doesn't have a violent ideology. That's like saying, well, statistically, it's very unlikely that you will be sexually molested. There are not many. You're more likely to drown in the pool, Johnny, than be raped by a pedophile. So just don't walk by the pedophile's house. You can't fix random furniture breaking, and I don't know where he's buying his furniture.
Yeah, it's maybe IKEA probably.
Maybe IKEA. Well, the Swedes, they're overrun with the Islamists. It would make sense.
Yeah. Plus, liberals love IKEA.
They do. They have. Sorry, I'm going to stop with the Swedish meatballs jokes. I could just go into the Swedish chef gag. Here's the deal with that. Anyone who's watching this, if you want to think this is someone who is intellectually genuine, do you really think he's dumb enough to not see what a horrible comparison that is? That's not a valid analogy. Chairs, furniture, they do not have an ideology that can kill people. Islam does in record numbers, so don't try and compare them. Next clip.
I grew up in a predominantly Mexican community, so I just told everybody I was Mexican.
Oh, practicing Islamic taqiyya as a toddler. Very nice. For those of you who don't know, look up Islam taqiyya. Next clip.
Hardest part for me when I'm being interviewed is to tamp down my astonishment.
The question at the bottom of the screen that everyone is looking at. Does Islam promote violence?
The thing that's mostly going through my mind is calm down, calm down.
The justice system in Muslim countries, you don't think, is somehow more primitive or subjugates women more than in other countries?
Did you hear what you just said? You said in Muslim countries.
Yes. Yes, she did. This is another tactic of the social justice warrior. Just act like it's so absurd. Oh, it's so it's like people could vote for Donald Trump and they're not racist. Did you see what you just said? Let me feign offense with my perfectly strand-plucked eyebrows. It's a perfectly valid question. As a matter of fact, I think it's a necessary question. Muslim countries. Now, that you should be happy about this, Reza Aslan. She's not saying all Muslims, hashtag not all Muslims. She's saying, as a general rule, in Islamic countries, do we acknowledge that maybe there's a systemic problem in their treatment of women, let alone gays, let alone people who aren't Muslim? We'll get to that in a moment. She is saying, as a general rule in the Islamic world, does it stand to reason, Your Honor, to say that they have not stepped up with the rest of the modernized world in Western society? And he acts as though that's an unreasonable question. Well, what about the fact that I think we have these sources? 85% globally in Muslim believe that women should always obey husbands. Try and tell that to MTV Feminist News and see what they think about it. If you were to say Christians did it. 53% believe women can be punished for not wearing veils. More than half the Muslims in the world believe women should not have the right to divorce or equal rights to inheritance. Here's the point. These are not extremists. These are statistics, verifiable statistics across the Islamic world. Does that mean that there aren't variances between, say, Indonesia, where actually they might be pretty nice to women, but there's record church burnings as it occurs with Christians right now, but we don't talk about that? No, it doesn't mean that. Of course, Pakistan's going to be worse, and Saudi Arabia may be worse with gay people, and the UAE may be worse with rape. We understand that there are variances across the Islamic world, but for her to ask the question as a general rule, hashtag not all Muslims, are equal rights a problem in the Islamic world? And Reza Aslan wants you to believe that that is an unreasonable question that can be attributed, well, to something that social justice warriors constantly accuse their opponents of. And we'll get to that. Let's go to the next clip.
Please don't generalize about 1.7 billion people in the world.
Okay, let's not. Let's not generalize about 1.7. How about 1.2 billion? How about 1.2 billion people in the world? I've got some statistics here. We did a video on this. Ben Shapiro did a great video on this. We have 52% of American Muslims who support some form of Sharia law. A quarter of American Muslims, the most moderate in the world, support jihad. Then if you look in other countries, like Pakistan, you have 75% of people who support strict Sharia law. Over 2/3 support honor killings. You can go across the spectrum. You can go to Saudi Arabia, you can go to Pakistan, you can go to Indonesia, you can go to Malaysia, you can go to UAE, you can go to Iran, you can go to Egypt. You'll find these numbers pretty consistent. At least 20-something% of Muslims, if they aren't, of course, aren't engaged in terrorism, but actively support terrorist organizations or believe that it's justified. So 1.2 billion Muslims who believe in some form of Sharia law or death for apostasy, right? We know that. Now, I know you'll say, well, Sharia law, it's not the same in every country. Okay, that's true. Let's allow for some variances. Sharia law generally has some pillars that are pretty important, meaning dibitude, subjugation of people who are non-Muslim, meaning women are treated differently from men under the law, meaning non-Muslims are treated differently under the law, meaning gay people tend to be stoned to death, meaning women need certain people for rape, meaning there is death for apostasy. Those are generally considered. I know there's different Sharia law, but if you look across the board as a general rule, hashtag not all Muslims, those tend to be included in Sharia law. Let's go conservatively, 1.2. Let's take that back. Let's take it to less than half. Let's say 500 million Muslims in the world believe in Sharia law, or 500 million Muslims believe in honor killings or death for apostasy. We know guaranteed it's much higher than that. I'm saying let's scale back 1.2 billion, let's scale it back to 900 million, let's scale it back to 500 million Muslims on planet Earth who believe in implementing laws that violate basic fundamental human rights. That's not a problem? Am I making a generalization with 500 million people? The Westboro Baptist Church, who are talked about every time they send out a press release, have about 16 members, and 2 of them have flippers. Next clip.
You're a Muslim, so why did you write a book about the founder of Christianity?
Well, to be clear, I am a scholar of religions with 4 degrees, including 1 in the New Testament and fluency in Biblical Greek.
To be fair, that was an incredibly stupid question. That question was everything that is wrong with cable news. I worked at Fox News for 4 years. I've appeared at every cable network known to man. And I agree that that was an incredibly stupid question. It was a leading question. It was irrelevant. That's one for you, Reza Aslan.
After about 10 years of being cable news' favorite Muslim, I've come to the realization that I don't think it's doing any good. Bigotry is not a result of ignorance, it's a result of fear. And fear is impervious to data. Fear is impervious to information.
Okay. Do you see it there? I know when I said Reza Aslan is a social justice warrior, a lot of people who are still in their conversion process from the Young Turks, no, I don't want to believe, no. They don't want to believe it. He's an intellectual. Did you see what he just did there?
Scholar.
He did the exact same thing every social justice leftist does. He said, I used to do it, but now I absolve myself of the requirement to make intellectual arguments because all of my opponents, anyone who disagrees with me, are bigoted. Bigotry is impervious to information. Do you see what he just did? It was the same thing that the Obama supporters did with the Tea Partiers, the same thing that Hillary supporters and Bernie people did with Donald Trump supporters, the same thing the social justice warriors do online, which is if you disagree with me, you're racist. Reza Aslan, someone who has been held out as the pinnacle of intellectual discussion regarding Islamic apologetics. just said, I no longer need to argue my point because everyone who disagrees with me is a bigot. I could rest my case here, but let's go further.
In this country, we went from overwhelming majorities who were against same-sex marriage to overwhelming majorities supporting same-sex marriage within the span of a couple of years.
Right. Okay. So when has that span of a couple years occurred anywhere in the Islamic world yet? Reza Aslan, Mr. Leftist. I know you're incredibly anti-Israel and support Palestine. How did your meeting with the Hamas committee go? Did they notice your lisp? Perchance. I notice you're still intact, so I guess not. Let's go through statistics. Turkey's violent homophobia. Of course, hate crimes against gay people, that if it occurred anywhere in the modern world, it would be all over YouTube and Facebook, and they wouldn't even remove it as fake news. Saudi Arabia, they push for gays to be executed. Bangladesh, let's look there. That's a country I think Reza Aslan has used as one of his examples for moderate Islam. What are there, 13 Islamic countries that officially...
13.
So... I get it, hate crimes at parades and stuff, you know, that you can't, that's anecdotal. Again, let's give Reza Aslan as much leeway as possible. All those hate crimes that occur against gay people in record rates that don't occur in the modern world, let's remove those. Still 13 Islamic countries that kill you for being a sprite. So he praises that here in the United States. Why don't you go out of your way to talk about where it's still a problem? He seems very obsessed with the gay issue too, constantly defending it. So
there's a lot of articles out there.
But you know what? Maybe he's just a compassionate person. Next clip.
What changed people's minds was Will and Grace, was Modern Family, was watching people who were gay on television being, you know, normal. They're struggling with the same issues that you're struggling with. They are human beings. And so for the last few years, I've decided that what I'm going to do is try to change people's minds through pop culture, through film and television.
There it is. And it's a great point. It's a great point from Reza Aslan. It also serves to debunk the idea that conservatives or anyone who's not a social justice warrior is some crazy conspiracy theorist when they believe that the entertainment industry and media are colluding against their values. Here you go. Straight from the Islamic horse's possibly gay mouth.
Is there a disease for that?
Letters. Thank God he's not Clock Boys, all I'm saying, because they've got deep legal pockets. Oh, yeah. Apparently he sold the stuff on Etsy. So watch last night's episode. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Reza Aslan here says, I am going to use, for Will and Grace, Modern Family. He says Hollywood serves to brainwash people. Hollywood serves to act as prop. Because here's the deal, right? Is he using Hollywood to bring people together? Does he want to use pop culture to bring people together? No, he doesn't, because he just dismissed half of the entire country as bigoted and racist. Remember that? So, what does he want to do? He wants to use pop culture, media, news to dismiss and brainwash everybody into believing that all these people are racist and they're bigoted and they're homophobic and they're transphobic. So let's put more trannies in Superwoman. Let's put more gay people in, I don't know, any single show. Whatever it is, at every single turn they have to put something in there to inject a social justice. We need more superheroes who are black. We need more female superheroes who have hijabs. We need to do that because now pop culture. So they're framing you all as bigoted. This is Reza Aslan, the great intellectual Islamic thinker. People who disagree with me are bigoted. But really? Maybe people who disagree with you, does it mean they're bigoted if they disagree with passages in the Quran that say kill infidels wherever you find them? Surah 434. I could rattle off some verses for you. Does it mean they're bigoted if let's say they don't even have an opinion, but they're a bit concerned that according to Hadith, Muhammad called for the deaths of Christians and Jews as his last words? Does it mean you're bigoted if Muhammad beat his 6-year-old wife? Does it mean you're bigoted if Muhammad came out and said, you know what, I think I was wrestling with a demon, and his wife said, no, that was an angel, and that's how the religion started? Is it bigoted if Christians maybe go, listen, I think this is a perversion of the Christian faith, or even Jewish people who say, you know, I think this is a perversion of the Old Testament because they think that everything after Abraham's blessing was a lie? Is it bigoted for people to have any kind of apprehensions with Islam? Reza Aslan says, yes, that can be the only reason, and he is going to serve the rest of his life brainwashing the public to ensure that they agree with him. Ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case. Let's move on to the next story. Little lighter, Steve Harvey. Okay, so Steve Harvey made this joke. I know our EP Scott doesn't like Steve Harvey. I think he's funny.
I always think he's funny.
What do you think?
I have always thought he's funny. He's a good host.
I think he's funny too. I think he's a good host. I mean, I know he's an Obama. I know he's probably more liberal, but I don't care. I've thought he's pretty funny. Well, let's just go. This is what everyone is mad about. He made this joke.
Finally, here's one. How to date a white woman, a practical guide for Asian men.
I know he's just doing the black thing, but I find it funny.
Yeah. That's one page, too. Excuse me. Do you like Asian men? No. Thank you.
What? And people got so offended by that. Hugh HuffPo outrage. Jordan, Huffington Post, of course, was outraged. Steve Harvey thinks the idea of being attracted to an Asian man is laughable. The media overreacted. What was it? What was this one too? The blog. I guess this is pretty popular. AngryAsianMan.com. Is that the one that we found?
Yeah.
Jordan? Do we have it? Yep. Here's the funny thing. Do we have the quote? So AngryAsianMan.com wrote about how this is unacceptable, and I'm reading a quote directly from this blog. That's how a TV host can shamelessly shit on Asian man on national television. So in being offended by stereotypes, he perpetuates a stereotype. Let me read it, and he probably wrote it in his inner monologue. That's how a TV host can shamelessly shit on Asian man on national TV. Like Dr. Ho with you have to poop every day. Buy my cleanse. When you don't go poop every day, you feel bloated, sluggish, uncomfortable. Steve Harvey, you make me uncomfortable. You go poop on the Asian man. The point is this. He made a joke, which I thought was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
I think your joke was far more racist than Steve Harvey's.
My joke is definitely more racist than Steve Harvey's, and I'm not black, so I don't have as much of a pass. Send your letters. I'm fine with them. I'm used to them at this point. So everyone gets outraged, right? And basically what they're doing, I've had this happen where HuffPo literally fact-checked my jokes. So in this process, they were effectively fact-checking the joke of Steve Harvey, which is a joke. This is why the left ruins comedy. This is why the best comedians, I guarantee you, out of the next decade are not going to be leftists.
Fun at all anymore.
No, Amy Schumer, not fun anymore. It's just, she was funny. Now when she decides to push an agenda, it just gets to be too much. Here's the deal. What if when you're fact-checking a joke, the original joke from Steve Harvey is actually more accurate? Now, this is going to be super racist, statistically. So, Asian men actually do have a tougher time dating. This comes from OkCupid. OkCupid repeated that women penalized Asian men when making their selection, and non-black men penalized Asian women, black women. So non-black men, this is just the dating profiles when they looked at it, non-black men, so that could include Asians or white people, they tended to prefer people who were not black women. Women tended to overwhelmingly prefer men who were not Asian when given the choice. Does this mean that Asians are unattractive? No. Does it mean that Asians are ugly? No. What it means is that to most women who are not Asian, Asian men will have a hard time dating them. This is a verifiable fact. It's just not a preference of most women who don't happen to be Asian. These are biological evolutionary mechanisms for a lot of people. There are studies that we have here. Women are attracted to men with higher testosterone levels. I think we found this finally. Do we have that link up there on the t-shirt study? The sweaty t-shirt study. This one was amazing to me. So this is where smell knows no racial background, it knows no ethnicity, it knows no social class. They gave women sweaty t-shirts from men who had worked out. And women innately preferred the sweat of for various t-shirts. They preferred the sweat from men who had higher testosterone levels, who had better symmetry, which is a sign of good genetics. These are things that women are attracted to. Now, the reason women tend to not be attracted, non-Asian women tend to not be attracted to Asian men, Asians tend to be smaller than the general population. Physically, they tend to be smaller, right? So, by comparison, women who aren't Asian, who aren't smaller, where it's a more effective ratio, Asian women to Asian men. White women are a little bit taller. They tend to prefer bigger men. They tend to prefer men who look like they could physically provide. Strapping men, bigger joints, burly. These are signs of higher testosterone. Not signs that, as a general rule, I know someone will send me a picture of an Asian bodybuilder, a general rule that Asian men tend to have as attributes. On the flip side, Women actually, they tended to, Milo Yiannopoulos talked about this on the show. A lot of them liked black men, these same women. For the opposite reasons. Black men tend to be taller. Black men tend to be muscular. Black men physically tend to have attributes that women find effectively attractive in a mate. On the flip side, men found Asian women to actually be pretty attractive. It doesn't say in the study if they found them more attractive than white women, but men, on average, who weren't black, found black women less attractive. As a general rule, black women tend to be bigger. Black women tend to be stronger. Black women, for a lot of men, men are looking for women who they believe will carry on their offspring most effectively. Will be mothering, will be nurturing, look soft, look warm, kind. These are simply statistics that people felt they had certain perceptions of people from different races when it came to dating. So, long way around to say this. Steve Harvey made a joke. It should have just been a joke. But because liberals fact-checked the joke, we have to fact-check their fact-checking of a joke. And the joke was more accurate than the outrage. By the way, something that's ironic is women completely change their tune on Asian men when they notice that they have an average higher income. Oh. So there's a silver lining. There's silver lining for my dating life. I no longer need to feel ashamed, sluggish, disadvantaged, uncomfortable. Matt Iseman coming up next. Dr. Ho! Dormio.
In restless sleep I toss alone on this old mattress made of stone. Would prefer to sleep on Dormio. Nothing really rhymes with Dormio, but it's the best sleep that I've ever had. So scooch your tad, make room for me on the Dormio.
Dormio mattresses.
Sleepwithcrowder.com for specials and free shipping.
And a pillow.
Reach the wizard. Reach the wizard.
All right, glad to have this next guest. He is a regular. He's been on several times. One time he was actually yelling at housekeeping because he was doing it from a hotel, so always very bizarre locales. Now he's in his car, so this is, I don't know how legal this is. Don't answer that, Matt.
I'm pulled over, for the record.
Right, that's what he's saying.
But I'll still be yelling at someone.
Yes, he'll still be yelling at someone. That's funny.
Not gay Jared!
Yeah.
What's going on?
You know, it's funny. He does the same thing, only not gay Jared just yells at the Jews, and I don't know why that is.
I can't help it. I can't help it.
I'm a quarter Jew. You can yell at me, not gay.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because you were a doctor. So we should introduce him at Matt Iseman, hashtag Celebrity Apprentice. He's on this season of Celebrity Apprentice, along with our other good friend, Chael Sonnen, who will also be on the program. Okay, Matt knows this. Little inside baseball. Chael was supposed to be on today, and then he said he was sick, and Matt was supposed to be next week. So you can give us, find out for us if he's really sick.
I would love to know because I'm going to his fight on the 21st against Tito Ortiz, and I don't want to half-assed Chael in the ring there. I'm expecting full octane Summon.
Well, you can't get full octane because there's drug testing. But he's the first to admit it.
I'm older than Chael, and that was one of the questions I had for him was how good are the drugs? And he just said it was remarkable the recovery time, like how much it would cut down on recovery time.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, you know, Bandit and athletics have a level playing field, whatever. But as you age, I think the sense of using these at lower doses, you're not looking for maximum performance.
Sure.
But just for recovery, like I look at my dad, he had knee surgery. I'm like, why are you not on HGH?
Yeah.
Why are you not this? It's been proven over the past few decades to be unbelievably effective at helping people recover from injury and work out.
And that's why they were created. Like Anavar is a steroid that they'll give to people, very common for wrestlers. They used to call it the wrestler's steroid because it wasn't like a bodybuilding steroid. It would lean people out and help them with strength, but it wouldn't add muscle. And it was, it was created, I don't know if it was created, but it still is prescribed to cancer patients and AIDS patients and burn victims because of what it does for... We'll talk about that after the year. I know a guy. Mark Ripatone knows a guy, I have no doubt. Or Chael, because of what it does for collagen synthesis, right? So that increase, and these people are tearing their ligaments. So yeah, I totally agree as they get older in life. But again, that's another issue that's kind of been politicized. Another issue that was just is your show, Celebrity Apprentice. Now you're at the epicenter of this controversy. What's the vibe like? Is it like somebody died, or is it like your former boss is president?
I don't know. It's surreal because when we shot it last February, and at that point, Trump was very much a long shot, and NBC had severed ties with him. Yeah, he was not at all involved. The show, it didn't, it moved production from New York to L.A. There was, the talk of him as a producer.
Speaking of professional programming, aim your camera down a little bit, Matt. We're professionals here.
Is it?
Yeah, look at no, not that. Now we don't just want to see your chin. Okay, there we go. That works better. Thank you. Okay, continue.
Let me put it over here. Is this better? I'm in my car. This is.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
So Trump, he had no involvement in the show. He was not involved in the shooting. There was no talks of him. He's not looking at daily cuts of the show, giving notes on production. It was supposed to air in September, but I think they felt that given the political climate with the election going on, that it was probably a more polarizing time. So they like postpone it. And I'm sure in the back of their minds, they're thinking that, probably the situation would resolve itself. Instead, he wins. And then I think...
Oh, it's like just skim over that. I've got to imagine people there were, wait, what? They didn't know what to do. That totally changed their season plans for the show.
I think so, but at the same point, you figure at that point, it felt like once the election happened, people were... The daily discussion of I felt it actually was less polarized. Once he was elected, a lot of people made their peace. There were still obviously people who felt this is the apocalypse personified.
Yeah.
But with the show, again, we felt like the show was still a separate entity, and that Trump would be focused on being president. But then it came out he was going to keep his name on as an executive producer. And this in entertainment.
Yeah.
He was involved in the creation of the show. He had the title in the contract.
Right.
He was going to get his money either way. He chose to keep his name on it, and that's
I think he just can't
a power play.
Well, he just can't stop winning. That's he keeps his name as the executive producer.
It distracts us all.
But then, the ratings. Our first episode, we're up against The Bachelor and football, and it wasn't. The ratings weren't as good as I think they were hoping for. And so, shockingly, then, the man who's president-elect and who is the EP on the show then calls out our current boss, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And at that point, I was just like, this is above my pay grade. I'm just happy to be involved in the show. And honestly, I think that
Well, here's something too. In your defense, it's not really fair. I looked at a study. All shows were down by the same percentage point from the last time the Celebrity Apprentice premiered because of how many people have shifted to Hulu. So, for example, even if you look at The Bachelor, I don't have the actual numbers, but if it was 5 million their premiere like last season or 2 seasons ago, now it would be about 4.6 or 4.4, and it was actually comparably not bad for Celebrity Apprentice. The ratings were still good, but a lot of people watch these things on Hulu. I mean, they call us unpluggers. So as much as Trump keeps winning, he was a little
You're
off.
Absolutely right. That the just the choices when you look at, like you said, whether it's watching streaming or FX with their programming or HBO or Showtime, there's so many more choices.
Yeah.
More people are consuming content, but they're just doing it in different ways. So you're right.
Yeah.
When you look at a show 10 years ago, what was a hit? It'd be 30 million people watching it. Now 7 million people is a big number.
Yeah, it is. And you have kids doing that on YouTube channels, playing video games, making fart noises.
Right. Which is essentially, that's what I do on Celebrity Apprentice. That's all I'm good for.
Hours of fun.
What'd you do on your challenge? I like it.
For me, I mean, I'm looking over your shoulder. You've got the Conan Crowder poster right there.
Yeah, and that's not good. Jared is Red Sonja there.
Oh, I know. And so it's amazing. And to me, sorry, I'm getting notifications. For me, it's been so awesome. I couldn't be a bigger Schwarzenegger fan. I mean, Predator, Commando, Terminator. Those
Well, you
were,
could be a
those
bigger
were
fan
gospel.
if you were his maid. There's always the possibility of being a bigger fan.
Boss, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you.
No,
Who's
hold on. By the way,
watching this?
just the most unattractive woman. Like everyone watched it and they were like, oh, okay. There was some story there, either some scotch and cigars or he was bored as hell. But Arnie, really? Sorry, go ahead, Matt. You have to go back in the set.
The chance to work with Schwarzenegger made me one of his biggest fans, and it was, it was an awesome show, and a lot of people, it's unfortunate that I think this show has become somewhat politicized because I think it's an entertaining show, and at the end of the day, look, we're all on there. We're desperately looking for more attention and for people to learn us in a different capacity, but also. We do get to compete for charity. And for me, I have rheumatoid arthritis. I'm competing for the Arthritis Foundation. Last week, I got to be project manager and I won. And so I raised $50,000 for the charity. And more importantly, you get to raise awareness for my story and for people to be aware of this charity. So in the end, I feel like I'm really proud to be a part of this show. And it's unfortunate that it has become politicized.
Well, unfortunately, though, you have to do all this work for charity. And since you're a host for American Ninja Warrior, you're not making as much bank as some of the other people. So I hope they're tossing you on the side.
At this point, you know what? The real, it is. This is a show that I think, the longer you stay on the show, you don't get more money. It really is just a chance to promote your charity more.
Funny enough, the longer Arsenio Hall was on the show, the less funny he got. So I'm hoping that you avoid that plague.
Well,
he just sidestepped.
No. I don't want to speak ill. I think Arsenio is a hilarious guy, but I will say, like, being on the show, it really is one of the more stressful situations, certainly in Hollywood. It's been the hardest thing I've done since medical school because you really are working on these tasks and, you're a competitor. Your pride kicks in. You don't want to lose. You don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to be called out in the boardroom.
And then, so that aside, so Donald Trump is president. He's kind of been insulting the show. Are you conflicted with that as someone who I think leans more politically right? I don't know, you're kind of more centrist?
For me, I look at it as entertainment. Our job is to entertain. The show isn't a political show with Apprentice. It's become politicized. But no one's out there espousing, particular beliefs. I think it's... the goal for me as an entertainer is I'm trying to reach as many people as possible, whether it's on American Ninja Warrior or Celebrity Apprentice or social media, and try to entertain them and hopefully do some good. So I think I think that I've seen on social media people saying they won't watch the show because of the association with the previous boss, and I don't know that they would watch the show.
Have you had any people the other way saying they won't watch it because Donald Trump doesn't like you now?
I don't know. It's hard to know, too, because as you know, on social media, a lot of people are just saying things. And whether they would have actually watched the show or wouldn't have, it's hard to know. I just feel, as someone who is very apolitical as a public figure, it's really sad to see something that I thought was going to be a very positively perceived show, other than whatever. If we're jackasses on the show, make fun of that. But to be involved with something where people say, like, I got an email from someone saying, you've betrayed the Hippocratic Oath by being a part of the show. And I'm like,
what?
I'm competing for, I thought it was a very big logical leap because, again,
my mom watched the show, and when you were project manager, she got a heart attack.
And it literally was even before the show aired that someone just wrote to me as someone who has made, who's only tried to draw attention to the Arthritis Foundation. And it was one of those emails you're like, okay, delete.
You betrayed
I'm not going to let it affect me. It's unfortunate.
It was sent from Trump's doctor. It was sent from Trump's doctor. By the way, Donald Trump is the healthiest president who's ever lived. You betrayed your Hippocratic Oath. You're fake news. All right.
It's surreal. I don't know that he's actually watching the show. I mean, I would love for him to be, but I think he's probably busier with things. But it is surreal to think that the president-elect is involved, with the show.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a surreal position as we see, which I think has been going on for years, if not decades. Just the merger between politics and entertainment and opinion, which is all coming together.
Good point. At Matt Iseman is the best place for people to find you. They can watch you on Celebrity Apprentice. When does that air and where does it air, Matt?
It's Monday nights, 8 p.m. on NBC. And Chael Sonnen, who I like to think I became friends with, he's going to be he's going to be fighting the 21st. I'm going to be out there.
Well, he'll be on the show here in the next couple of weeks. Oh, Jimmy Smith? What?
Yeah, Jimmy Smith. Well, Jimmy Smith does the color commentary on Bellator, and he and I work together on Ninja Warrior, and I just think he's one of the best broadcasters around. So I'm excited to be there around Jimmy as well. So it's for me. I went in. I was a fanboy. American Ninja Warrior is pretty well known. I was not one of the better known celebrities going into it. So to meet guys
but
like
you looked
Chael,
better than Cyndi Lauper. Cyndi Lauper kind of looked like a wax museum statue of Cyndi Lauper.
I'll be honest. We did viral videos for where we were playing football with Ricky Williams and Boy George and Carson Cressy, and I'm looking at myself going, I'm not in football shape right now. I need Ripito to give me. I need to get some squats going or something. I have a little gut going.
Well, just call Chael's doctor and he'll fix you up in a jiffy. At Matt Iseman, NBC Celebrity Apprentice, Wednesdays at 8, right?
Mondays
at 8. I got that wrong. Mondays at 8. And if you don't get
now
axed,
that you're daily,
yes.
You don't have to worry about days of the week.
Well, if you don't, assuming you don't get terminated, if you don't get axed, I won't say terminated again on the show. We will have you back to talk about it and gossip. And I want to know what kind of undergarments Arnold Schwarzenegger wears today. And I'm betting that you can find out.
I was trying to find out the whole time.
I knew it. He was the maid.
I was kissing his ass. I'm shameless.
All right. At Matt Iseman, thank you very much, sir. I think next we're going to be reading tweets. And I don't know. Not Gay Jared's going to tell me. We'll see you soon.
Well, congrats on Always Daily.
Shut up, Matt. We're going to a break.
Hey, Jared, what are you doing?
Shooting bad guys.
With what?
By AR-15.
Where'd you get it?
AR-15.com.
Enunciate it more clearly so our audience can hear.
AR-15.com.
That's better. They sell guns now?
Yeah, they do.
Are they any good?
They're the best.
Where from?
AR-15.com. Kapoo. Kapish.
You really make that sound?
Didn't have the budget for sound effects. Kapoo. Kapow.
Oh, there's another one.
Kapow.
You got him! With what?
By AR-15.
From where?
AR-15.com.
Hey, how do you know they're bad guys?
Turbans and burkas. Kapoo!
That's racist!
That pretty often now. Thank you very much for watching. This is the last show of the week. Starting in February, Not Gay Jared and Courtney have their own show. Listen, we've been having a daily show all week. This is the first week, and we can't tell you enough how appreciative we are. LouderWithCrowder.com/MugClub is where you go to join. LouderWithCrowder.com/MugClub. It's $99, $69 for the year if you are a student, military, or veteran. And that ends up being less than $6 a month. And we have a 7-day free trial going on right now. So we're building everything out. We have so many more employees. We're able to hire more people. We're able to have more impact. And it allows us to not be beholden to Facebook or YouTube, to not have to do the clickbait, to not have to cater to their every whim in order to get their advertising dollars. Do we have the images, Jared, of who we...
We don't have those images, but we have these images.
What images? Oh, there you go. Well, of course, if you subscribe to the Mug Club, you get all of CRTV, Mark Levin, Michelle Malkin, Mark Stein, myself, and several other names here coming up. We're at about a threshold where if you guys join, you're going to have pretty much a full day of content there, rounding out that clock. Thank you so much. Dormio is another sponsor. Dormio.
Best mattress around.
It is so awesome. It's a sponsorship we wanted before. We don't have the website up right now, but sleepwithcrowder.com. If you're listening to this the next morning after the live show, sleepwithcrowder.com, you get an awesome deal. A bed that I think is usually $2,000 for $13.99, free shipping to your door, free pillow, money back guarantee. I've had it for a while. I got Jared, Not Gay Jared, one for Christmas, despite him not deserving it. And here's the thing. With any of the sponsorships with this show, whether it's Mug Club or whether it's Dormio Mattress, we had Prepare with Crowder.com. We never want to sell you anything that you don't want. We never want to be in the business of pushing something that you don't want. But any product or sponsor that you see on this show has gone through extreme vetting, and what we want to do is provide you with a value. So think of us as your Groupon. Think of us as a place where if you need a mattress, go get this mattress. Now, could you get cheaper mattresses that would be perfectly adequate? Probably. But if you want to get the best mattress money can buy, possibly, and I mean way better than the mattresses you hear on AM radio, it's a glorified inflatable bed with a thing that goes like this, so it's dual zone. If you want to get, you know exactly what I'm not, but I can't say then. They were using Brand X.
Brand X.
Brand X.
Name that movie, guys.
If you want the best mattress possible, instead of spending $2,500 getting fitted for one at a mall, I think it's $13.99 at sleepwithcreditor.com, and it is awesome. If you're in the market for a mattress, if not, don't spend any more than you can afford. Louderwithcreditor.com/mugclub. So appreciative. We are growing leaps and bounds, and it's all because of you. Thank you. We'll be back. Glad to have that, but I think that that music doesn't sound super loud to me.
This is your ears.
It's just my ears. Okay. Yeah. This is a segment of the show where we put out a poll earlier today, and we're going to read some of your tweets. So thank you very much. We do the Facebook live stream just to interact with you guys a little bit because we have the guests on, but they're not you. They can't replace you.
You are special.
Jordan, do we have the results of the poll?
I do. I have it right up here on my screen.
Let's bring some juice up, I think, on Jordan's mic, unless it's just me.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, but does he need more juice, Jared?
Do I need to get right on it like that?
No, please don't. Okay. Don't. All right, go ahead. So we had a poll that went out. Who is the worst offender of fake news? CNN, or BuzzFeed. Option 3 was CNN and BuzzFeed. Option 4 was Russian hookers urinating. What were the results?
47% said both CNN and BuzzFeed.
Oh. Do we have it up on the...
Jordan needs to resend me a screen there.
Damn it. All right, let's get you sending a screen here.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, let's see it. Wow, 13% said Russian hookers peeing. Now, say what you want about Russian hookers peeing, but I don't think they've ever actually been charged with journalistic malpractice.
I don't think so.
They do that well.
They do it well.
I will say this. I find them disgusting.
There's some integrity...
Yes.
In few industries, but Russian peeing.
The Russian pissing hookers are one of them. I have my... believe me, I'm not without my qualms with Russian hookers urinating.
Oh, no.
They're not without their faults.
Plenty to talk about there.
But dishonesty is not amongst them.
No.
I think we're all in agreement. Do we have any other best tweets, Jordan, do you have up there? No, he's told us. All right, hold on. We have to take a couple of your questions here. Hold on. Richard, do you kiss your grandmother with that mouth? Oh, that was tweeting someone who tweeted us named Richard. Someone sent us the Joker gift because they understand the Brand X joke.
They understand the Brand X.
Brittany Rose says, Stephen Kreider promotes mattresses. Ben Shapiro promotes sheets. I feel like they're sending a message. Ooh. Hey, whoa now. That's not fair because it's a Sabbath and Ben can't be around to defend himself.
That's some real Illuminati crap right there.
I've got one here.
Okay.
It's from Dick Morris.
Oh, no. You're not. We have the rule. You don't show his tweets. Not gay Jared. You didn't fill Jordan in. I didn't even read it. Does that have something to do with feet?
Sure.
Since you're finally reading my tweets, can you finally answer the question of why you hate me so much? Well, no. It has to do with the feet.
Yes.
Dick Morris. Weigh in here. CNN is fiction says, Crunch Berries are Lucky Charms. Real milk and cereal is for babies. Real men drink beer.
That's a Lucky Charms for sure.
Well,
no doubt.
Hold on. Someone's really mad that we said women found black men more attractive. They're saying black men had the second lowest rating by women. Asian males were the lowest. How can we watch LWC next week if it's not live on YouTube? Write in NYC tweets. I feel like you're trolling at this point. Louderwithcreditor.com/mugclub daily. CRTV, 9 p.m. every single day. You get an early stream on Thursday so that they can have it archived at CRTV. They might even be beginning the archive of this right now as we finish it up. So, Jordan, do you have any more? We'll read one or two more, and then we will come in with the close.
Well, somebody had some speculation on Arnold's underwear, which
isn't
kind of goes without
obvious?
saying, I think.
Arnold goes commando. Oh, Daniel Eldridge, you're incorrigible. You're terrible. That's so Daniel. That's such a Daniel joke. I will
classic
say,
Daniel.
I'm surprised Edward didn't. The sound guy didn't laugh more at that. He loves the dad jokes, and he's like, "No, boo! I do not approve."
Even the sound guy has standards.
Okay, hold on one second. I have one more tweet to read, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'm from Vermont. Send help. Well, we know some other people who need some help in Vermont right now as well. Can I? That's not funny to you. Only to us. See, there we go. I know
nothing like inside jokes on the radio.
Yeah, nothing like inside. I'm sorry. Austin Rika asks, "Can I put my mug in the dishwasher?" The answer. This has been.
Technically, you can.
This is the first mug ever that was put out, and as you can see, it has a chip on it because this is the first one we ever had, and I've run this through the dishwasher a lot, so you can see the red is still on there. There have been a couple of people, depending on what kind of a solvent you use. Depending on how hot your dishwasher gets. Again, keep in mind, these are hand-etched. Hand-painted, hand-etched.
And speckly.
And speckly. Glorious. Quality item. LottoWithCreditor.com/mugclub. They're hand-etched, hand-painted, so the hand-painting can run off depending on what you use in the dishwasher.
Girthy as hell.
I know. Say the missus complains about it in the morning because she prefers to drink it out of a smaller cup.
She does.
Oh, the cup.
Yeah, no, we're there. We're going to be shipped off to Vermont soon. That's the problem in our line of work. You're not shipped to Siberia. They ship you to Vermont.
I'll say Danny effing K, right?
Danny effing K. Well, okay, listen, we're going to go, and thank you so much for the great tweets. We'll be tweeting about it. If you want to actually interact with us a little bit more on Facebook, the live streams, 4 p.m. Eastern, every day, Monday through Thursday. We're doing Facebook live stream chats and giving away stuff. So thank you so much. We're going to be back and wrap this all up with the thoughts of the week. LottoWithCreditor.com/mugclub. Hand etched. I just can't get over the etching. Dad, what are you doing here? I want to go to bed.
Don't bother me. I'm sleeping.
Come on. Mom's looking for you. Time to go home. Go.
You think you could get me one of these Dormio mattresses?
I'll see what I can do. Okay, I'm tired.
I'm just saying they're a sponsor.
I know. Just go. I'm tired. That's not how this works. Go. I'll see what I can do.
Hello, mattress, my old friend. I've come to lay with you again. Because a vision I was dreaming of you and I together sleeping. And the comfort
Dormio mattresses. Sleepwithcrowder.com for specials and free shipping.
And a pillow.
Within the sound of silence.
All right, glad to be back. That's Pogo. Wonderful bumps from Pogo. That's original. That's Pogo singing there for people who don't know. That is Pogo singing. This is the last segment. At Not Gay Jared on the Twitter. At Jordan, what's your? Do you want your Twitter handle out there?
They don't need my Twitter.
Okay,
handle.
they don't need Jordan's Twitter.
I don't post anything interesting.
No, you
mostly just retweet crap you tweet.
Well, listen. That's, if I serve no other purpose. We have some big guests coming up in next week. Your 7-day free trial. You're watching this for free. LottoWithCreditor.com/mugclub. If you want the daily show, you get to try it for free 7 days. Like we said, listen, if only a couple percentage points of you people who've enjoyed the content for free want to help us fight back, we really appreciate it. We have about a dozen people who we've hired now. We're growing. We want to bring on some new people and fight back against the leftist media establishment. Hey, you fake news.
Hey, no, fake news.
You're fake news. I want to have that just ready as a clip.
I do
every time
too.
now. Every time someone says, "I would just you fake news."
They're fake news. On next.
I think we have Mike Rowe. I think we have. I think we might have George St. Pierre coming up soon.
George St. Pierre.
Mike Huckabee, Rick Santorum on the political side. Artie Lang, Nick DiPaolo. Of course, you have your regulars. So we have a lot of people coming up now. Not all of them are here on YouTube. Again, some of them are behind the CRTV paywall. This program that you're watching live will be available for all time on CRTV and on the app. So, end of the week, last segment. Here's one thing. If there's a takeaway, and I do these once a week. I don't do them every single day because it takes some time for these things to percolate. You see it with the fake news, and you see Seth Meyers has reversed course on that now. You see with Reza Aslan dismissing all of his opponents as bigots. We've seen it with social justice leftists for a long time who dismiss everybody who disagree with them as racist. We see everyone telling you how outrageous it is for Steve Harvey to make a joke that was based on somewhat accurate statistics. It doesn't really matter because it's a joke. You do not need to let anybody out there tell you what should offend you, what causes you need to support, what opinions you need to hold, and you certainly don't need people who are beholden to you believing that they are real news, telling you what fake news is. You don't need to do that anymore. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. We've really built this. I'm incredibly grateful to everyone on the team who's worked so hard this week. I know there have been some technical glitches, but we're able now to bypass these filters. And I don't want you to take what I tell you and accept it. We get tweets all the time from people disagreeing with us, telling us that we're wrong. And we appreciate it. We issue retractions or corrections. We just did this week. On an article. I don't have a problem with it because I don't need you to believe that I'm right all the time. We just want you to be able to go out and at least parse through, just cut through some of the BS. And I hope we've helped you with that. But because everybody else is telling you, whether it's MSNBC, CNN, or even Fox News, of course, the Young Turks, Reza Aslan, whether it's HuffPo with Steve Harvey's joke, they're trying to tell you this is what you need to think. This is how you need to feel. You don't. Now, here's the beauty. We've talked about this on this show, okay? When we do this show, the best shows, and listen, there's a discrepancy, as there always is. Sometimes you have good days at work. Sometimes you have off days. The best shows that we do here, everyone in this room, I know not KJ, we've agreed, is where we have done a ton of prep. And we know the statistics and we have the information at hand and we have it in our show rundown. That's actually when we're the loosest and we have the most fun in the room because we know what we're saying is airtight. When we have a guest drop out or we have to scramble at the end of the day where we don't feel quite as prepared, that's actually when it's most tense here. You would think it's the opposite, where if you prep too much, you're kind of staccato. Let me tell you, and this is important for everyone, if you're going into college, if you're going into an industry where people tend to lean left, if you have to join a union, card check, where they want you to lean left, being prepared. I don't want to ever tell you how to think, certainly not what to feel. Your BS meter should do anytime someone says that. We never want to do that. But you will find that you are most fluid in your critical thinking and your ability to articulate your points and your ability to convert other people to your way of thinking when you are so prepared and you have information from every source available. I encourage you to go to HuffPo. I encourage you to go to Salon. I encourage you to watch MSNBC. I even encourage you to listen to Reza Aslan or Seth Meyers, who now want to tell you that they're not about fake news because they ran nothing but fake news. I encourage it because when you hear what they have to say, and then you hear the other side, as you do when you watch this program. Well, actually, you hear both sides in this program. We bring a lot of leftists, so we'll have our booker come in. It's been really hard to get them to come on this show. They see what happens, and a lot of them don't want to come back. But when you prepare yourself and you take advantage of all the information that you have available, you will find you are more fluid and you're looser in the shoulders on your punches in everyday life because you're confident in that you know what's going on. And so people who tell you, you need to think this, all of my opponents are bigots, you should be offended by this joke, that's a stiffness, right? Their arguments aren't fluid. It's gotten tired. The left said everything is racist, everything's transphobic, everything's homophobic, right? That's why people voted for Donald Trump. They're not getting away with it anymore. Their arguments are so stiff. They only have, it's like a fighter with one tool. They've only got that right hand. Why? Because they haven't done their prep. The left doesn't have the information, as you see with BuzzFeed, as you see with CNN. And when you don't have the information, when you're not informed, when you're not educated, you tend to rely on one argument and you get really stressed and stiff. So what I want to see is the opposite from anyone who watches or listens to this program. I want you to saturate yourself with news, not only news, philosophy, theology, if you believe in God, whatever your religion is. I want you to saturate yourself with it so you know so much and you feel so confident in your ability to be informed that you don't have to rely on an argument like someone's racist, and you certainly never have to tell somebody else exactly what they need to think or how they feel. Because that's not what we do, and that's not what anyone should do who believes in their position. That's not what anyone should do who believes in their argument. Whenever someone sticks with one, whenever someone is stiff, whenever someone's not quite comfortable, and you see that with Reza Aslan, you see that with Seth Meyers, and they're gonna stick, they're not prepared. So that's hopefully what we've helped with, hopefully what the Daily Show helps with. Just be prepared. And that's not hard to do. Everyone can do it. See you next week.